Hello, beloved sisters. Happy 3-3 Portal Day. My goodness, what a beautiful day. It's glorious outside where I'm living in Northern California, and I am just so grateful to be here today to be speaking with two of my best friends in my life, Luminessa Anjara from the New Feminine Rising, as well as Dawnlight Amora from the Self Love Show and Spark Your Inner Gold. Both of them have many golden nuggets to share with us along the way. One of the things I wanted to invite you to do, if you haven't done it yet, is take a moment to go grab your journal, maybe even a hand mirror if you like it, if you would like to participate in the mini puja later. And yeah, we are here for women's empowerment. And part of our awakening process as women is to tune in with our sacred portal and really to learn how to juice ourselves up and turn our radiance on. And I'm not talking about sexually, I'm just talking about understanding our body on a deeper level so that we can create a deeper connection with our sacred portal, so that we can truly honor her and hold her in reverence ceremoniously. And from there, we become empowered women. And so I'm so grateful to have you all here with us today. So I just wanted to start with opening a little bit of sacred space together and sharing a bit about the information or the symbology of 3-3. So if you can take a moment, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. But all of you who are here, you can place your hand on your heart if you choose to, one on your womb or one on your yoni. And just let's drop in for a moment into our breath. We want to feel our breath expand our chest as we inhale and contract as we exhale. And with each deep breath, we can feel it originate at our sacred portal. And we bring the inhale, the breath, up to our heart. And then the exhale, bringing the energy back down to our portal. And so this is a cyclic breathing, cycle breathing, from our root chakra up to our heart and back down again. And with each breath, begin to feel the renewing energies of love, care, self-care, compassion, kindness, gentleness, opening ourselves up to being receiving vessels of our divine feminine codes, the divine design that is embodied within our sacred portals. We each have codes and messages that we're bringing to the planet at this time to embrace and embody our new earth frequencies. And so as we call that energy in on 3-3, we are resonating with the energies of compassion, setting intentions with high attention to the fine details of living in high frequency vibrations. We are living in blessings, not blessings. That's be less. So we're living in our bliss. We're turning our radiance on as we also embody the energies of the Holy Trinity. As female-bodied women, we can tune into also our masculine energies and our creator spirit from source energy. And as we tune into the Holy Trinity today on 3-3, it is amplified and magnified as we embody the Holy Trinity within ourselves. 3-3 is also about creativity and tuning into the creative juices that are around us. We're about to have the full moon in Virgo, which invites us to really tap into our creative source energy. And so with another breath, let's just sit here and be in our body for just a moment. And hold gratitude for our sisterhood. Welcome, welcome ladies. Here we are together today I'm going to be bringing up my beautiful speakers here. Luminessa Anjara, my love, can you please share a little bit more about who you are?
Welcome to everybody. I'm so pleased to be here with all of you. And so, just briefly, I will share a little bit about me. I'm also found on my website if you want to read more at the newfemininerising.com. So I've been a practicing priestess and a teacher of goddess mythology, women's sexuality for over 30 years.
Mhm.
My background has always been around self-growth and spirituality. I was trained in the Ascended Master teachings at a very young age in my mid-20s and worked very intensely with my own I am presence, became an active channel and also developed my abilities to do what we call prayer therapy or doing healing work through prayer on a very high level of vibrational frequency, really about ascending into our I am presence. And my work with the goddess came later. It was about the sexuality. It was my own process to heal my own sexual abuse.
Mhm.
And through that journey, which was very much going through into sexual healing through the work of being a sensual massage therapist, as well as doing erotic dance, as well as doing the whole exploration of what we call the darker side of the underbody, of sex.
Mm.
So I was a phone sex operator. I did all these different things that helped me to get in touch with my sexual power. And my own personal journey took many years for me not only heal my abuse issues, but also what had happened for me was it was a journey through the goddess, because her initiation for me was this journey for me to learn how to have, where does my power really reside as a woman? And
Mm.
how do I use that power? Doing sensual massage will challenge you. So in that process, I came full circle after 18 years to finally being able to own myself in a way that I'd never done before.
Mm.
And I really found a place in myself that was whole. And I developed a teaching and a priestess training through the lineage of the priestess of the flame, which is a 6,000-year-old lineage from the temples of Inanna. And I work with the goddess Lilith, not as the old version of Lilith that you and I have known. She's an aspect of the patriarchal version of Lilith, but really the aspect of Lilith, which is the whole woman, reclaiming our innocence, reclaiming our sexual power, reclaiming our bodies, reclaiming our sensuality in a way that makes us innocent again. We reclaim our sexual innocence. So I had to go through that journey personally
Yeah,
in
I
order
can
to be
tell.
able to teach that and give this away. So I
Oh,
give that away to you now today, a taste of that. I developed a practice called the Yoni empowerment ceremony, which we'll talk more about
yes,
later.
we will definitely
And
talk
that's
about
that
it.
in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you. Amazing. Oh, you are such an inspiration, love. So grateful to have you here. Dawn, my dear one. Oh, please introduce yourself to the sisters.
Oh, hi, beautiful sisters. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Dawn Light, and Anistara and I have been friends for more than 20 years.
Mhm.
She has done me the greatest favor in the world. She pushed me in my husband's lap, and my husband and I are celebrating 20 years of marriage this year. So I'll backtrack to the beginning of my journey. Spiritual journey, I would say, is I'm a child abuse survivor, so that really thwarted me as a young one, like to be super aware. And I came in really full of light. And I think I was a light worker, and I chose that family and that unique imprint to come into for healing, right? And it took me 45 years to break through that lens of rejection and lay it down, but I had a lot of abuse and trauma to work through. And the normal life, I couldn't ever fit into the normal 9 and 5. So I found my way leaving home early at 17, and I found my way into exotic dancing. And that was like a foundational place for me to be free and make enough money to live my life and explore my art, my artist self, and my sensual nature. And it just it just stayed in my life way longer than I ever anticipated. But it was such a sense of empowerment. I really found my way of being empowered in that journey, and I never let it take me down like a really dark road like I see many women go on in that journey. And it really powerfully served me. I went to college, I found my man. I broke the cycle of abuse, and my life just kept getting better and better. And like beautiful Luminessa, I too, high vibrational prayer, learned to channel young. I've always endeavored in all types of healing arts. I was a massage therapist. I've done all types of certifications and healing modalities. So I'm just a medicine woman, that I bear the light, and I have this gift, a gift of prayer and a gift of channel. And now at this stage of the game in my life, I am a spiritual psychology coach in my profession. And I don't know if you know, I'm the co-host of the Self-Love Show. It's weekly, it's live, and you can find it all everywhere. We're on podcast, we're Apple, everywhere, and you can find us on YouTube too. Great gems of nuggets of self-love. We just do it as a labor of love for all through the pandemic. So it's now 3 years. And I just had the pleasure of working for like the last year and a half. I birthed my program last year, and one of my dearest sisters is here with me. Yes, she went through the program. Two of my beautiful sisters are here with me, went through the program with me. But my program is called Unleash Your Sovereign Queen. And so I spent like a year and a half just birthing this from my womb. And it's woven of spiritual psychology and healing and really reclaiming your queen. And so that leads us to like this next part of the journey of like what we're doing here today, right? We're reclaiming ourselves through this beautiful way of getting in touch with our, most intimate, sacred vessel that we carry. We are the vessel for the light, right? And so that's just a little snippet of me in my life. I'm married. I have my beloved in my life, and I have a 12-year-old. And so I'm a wife, a mother, channeler, artist, dancer, lover. I'm no longer an exotic dancer, but I still love to twerk it out and have a good time. So.
I love you so much. Thank you for your service to humanity and to the sisterhood. I so appreciate you, but oh my goodness. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Anistara Makhan, the mother of 1111 Unified. I am a mother, a healer, a theta healer, massage therapist, tuning forks, sound healing, aromatherapy. I've been through the Resonance Delegate Program. I was most recently through the Portal Priestess Mystery School program. I went through the initiation and also became an apprentice. And now I have been blessed by Sierra and Avina, the founders of that mystery school, to be a sacred portal priestess oracle. And what that means is that I get to come in sisterhood with women like you and others to discover more of the codes that are coming through our own sacred portals. And so I'm going to speak a little bit further about that later and what a one-on-one reading might look like. But very much like palmistry, we all have different lines, different designs. Our Yoni holds a lot of codes, and when we look at the different archetypes, the different animal totems, the different runes, hieroglyphs, symbols that comes up when we view the flower, it's just amazing what happens. I've seen women who have been traumatized by their past abuse just suddenly seeing themselves in a whole new light. And so this has been very transformative for me, and we're all about to share our personal story a little bit more. Well, really, where it came from for me was that I was on a journey as a healer and being in service and creating community and being a community creatrix and gathering people for ceremony, whether it's just a birthday party or our annual houseboat party or our 1111 gatherings. I love bringing community together. And then when I got pregnant with my son, I gained 85 pounds during my pregnancy. And I stopped being able to actually see my sacred portal. And so I started to have less of a connection with her because I visually could not see her anymore. And fast forward to my birth story, I won't go into it too much, but honestly, after 3.5 days of being in labor, it ended in a surgical birth. Even though we had totally planned for a home birth, it was one of the most upsetting moments of my life to actually have to go through a surgical birth. But what happened was I was cut off. I was cut off energetically, physically, like literally cut off from her. And so when I went to my first Sacred Portal temple in Berkeley 6.5 years ago, we were invited to do mirror work. We were invited to photograph her. We were invited to name her. We learned about the Native American genital typing, and I began to form a new relationship with her. And for me, that was completely transformational and empowering. And so here it is, almost 7 years later, and I'm ready to dive into this with you, sisters, and discover our archetypes, discover our codes, discover what our sacred portal has to share with all of us. Because when we're in ceremony together, we all get to be guided and learn from the woman who is having the reading, from the woman who is upon the altar for us to embrace, view, gaze at, adore, and love her sacred portal. So, okay, we're going to move into just a few moments where I really would like to know a little bit more from Dawn and Luminessa of just like what was a transformational moment for you? Like I just shared, for me, that pivotal moment of being cut off and then being able to look at her again and see her and create that connection. So you have about 2 minutes each for this segment. So Luminessa, dear.
Sure. Thank you so very much. What a lovely story. So briefly, goes way back. There was a time where I never liked my Yoni. I call her Yoni or Punani. I never liked her. I looked at her. I had a lot of hair, and I looked at her and I thought she was ugly. And in fact, I got disgusted a little bit. And I was studying Tantra at the time, and I was opening my heart and learning how learn about the sexual types. I studied specifically about genital typing, which we'll go into later. And there was a time where I decided to, I took workshops with Annie Sprinkle, who was a very wonderful teacher and did many performance art and teaching called Sluts and Goddesses. And in that amazing 2-day workshop, I had a woman look at my Yoni for the first time and touch it. And you know, at that point, I would say I had this release of realizing that my father had touched me. And it was really transformative. It was a time where I broke through and cried and breathed and opened up myself. And from there, I started to look at other women's yonis. And there was a part of me that was still looking at, oh, I don't know if I like yonis. I'm not sure if I want them, you know. But I ended up falling in love with her again. And I'll tell you the truth, after I shaved her, and it was new when I was doing this, I shaved just parts of her so I could see her. I said, you know, I can't see her. So I shaved some of my hair, and I got my tantric sisters together, and we did this photo shoot of all our yonis. And when I looked at my Yoni, I fell in love with her. She was beautiful. I went, oh my goodness, she's so pretty and petite. Look at her. I see my lips. Look at her. I see my vulva. So for me, it was a couple of things that led to that, and then doing that. And ever since that time, creating the work and seeing how important it is to have a ceremony or have a way to do that. Now, the other thing I will say, just to encapsulate and close it, is in the Yoni Empowerment Ceremony, some of which we are going to share in our ceremony, is I got to do a beautiful cast, an altarpiece of my Yoni. And we decorated her, and I communed with her, and I got to see her and bejeweled her. Similar to that, isn't that beautiful? So that whole process not only helped other women, but it helped me again see and name her and bejewel her and connect to her in a way that was much more holistic
Hmm.
and not separate again as just a sex thing, but more she's a part of me and part of my power. So
Yep.
that's where
Mm.
that came from me. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Yeah, and it's interesting. We all have similar stories, and at the same time, we're all coming from a different place with this, right? My story is there's common threads for all of us, but there's always some kind of um, something that we come to the table wanting to heal. So, Dawn.
Oh, your stories are beautiful. I too had a lot of healing going. I went through the Portal Priestess program as well with Anistara, which was just such a gift. And thank you. And for me, I'll be brief, but for me, I had a huge, it was really a pivotal time for me to experience that. Like, I already felt very connected to my body, being an exotic dancer. I never shared that part of my body, though. I only shared, I was always naked, my breasts were exposed, but that was always kept private for my husband, and thankfully my husband is a Yoni worshiper and he really helped me heal and transform my own relationship with, so that had already occurred for me being in a long-term committed marriage, but there was still a lot of shame from that industry and job, and like the concept of being dirty because I did that type of work was still, I let that go through USM and my graduate school studies, but it was powerful when I actually got into the program, the Portal Priestess program. I was in perimenopause on the threshold of going it for the first time. My period had gone away. I was literally like in this deep throes of transformation from peri to menopause. Now I've just reached the year mark. So all of this occurred during that time. And it was a really powerful moment of just like shedding the last layers of the remnants of that whole 20-year cycle of being an exotic dancer and needing to leverage my sexuality for money in a way, and like just a really deep recoding and coming home. It allowed me to come home to a greater level of myself and just fully like blossom into the femininity and the feminine role in my life in a new way. And it's just like there's this layer of the last layers of shame that were still present, we're able to just kind of fall away, and seeing the actual codes and having people come and actually say them and be like, oh my gosh, it's this, what about this, my whole body was vibrating. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so true, like hummingbird and like all these different medicine codes that were I've known and I felt it in my bones all my life, but it was a confirmation.
Mm.
And then that really carried me forward through this kind of wild unknown of how do I make the transition of peri to post menopause, which I'm now in, and like questioning your sense of power. That goes on during that time for women, because it's like the old is the old and we're not yet in the new rebirth of self yet through that experience. And it's kind of this wild, soupy mess of like the body's not functioning the way it used to, and everything's new and you got to approach it in a new way. And there was just a lot of gentleness and surrender and acceptance. And it just gave me that. Like I felt so held in the container and supported. And I don't know, there's so much that came out. There's so many,
Yeah.
it's the gifts that keep on giving.
Thank you, Dawn. All right, I'm gonna bring you both up as I share a little piece of my story here as well. Is that when I was younger, I had some sexual abuse from a family member that I actually had blocked. I didn't know that it had happened to me, and it happened around 12 years old. And around 16, I was at summer camp, and it was a church summer camp. I was raised Christian Baptist, and they were going around and speaking with the children and saying, is there anything that you want to share that's like, intense or you need help with? And I just like, one woman or one girl stood up and shared her story of abuse, and it just all came back and just like flooded me. And I was like, wow, okay, yeah, that happened for me too. And I came home and things shifted for me. I kind of went more into how can I say? Just kind of like a dark night of the soul, right? But I was in my teens, and so I was already there and going through that big transition in my life. And a lot of things shifted for me in that moment. And I've grown so much since then. Obviously, I started to abuse myself in other ways, and ended up drinking, ended up smoking into my early 20s, mid 20s, and started having addictive behaviors that stemmed from this discovery. And now, in hindsight, I see this, right? And so there's that shame and that guilt that comes from, what could I have done differently? Was it my fault? Should I have screamed for help more? Like, whatever it was uh, that I still would hold, like, how could I have made this different? And one of the core essence of women and the energies that we hold is that we tend to hold old stories of fear of persecution, as women who were women in magic, witches burned at the stake for our magic, not being able to accept money for our magic, hiding ourselves in the shadows, not coming out into the light for fear of success or judgment, whatever it is. And then also the myth of the Garden of Eden, the fact that Adam and Eve was the one who took the bite from the apple. And so, in a lot of religious dogma, women are the cause of sin. We're literally the cause of evil. And Luminessa can speak more to, like, how the goddess was extracted from religion, from dogma, from cultural beliefs. Like, literally the power of woman and the matriarchal society that we were living in many long time ago. And we had our power taken from us. We allowed that to happen, right? And we were silenced, and we were quiet. And certain religions and cultures, we have to be completely covered. And I bless all everybody's path. And it's time for us to take the veils off. It's time for us to step into our power. It's time for us to know that we are creator energy. Literally, life is birthed through us, through our vessels as human, female embodied beings. So, Dawn and Luminessa, I would love to start doing kind of like a lightning round, 1 minute each, and then we'll go another round, 1 minute each, of what is Yoni empowerment for you? Yeah.
So I just want to say really quickly, thank you for that. Just can I say one thing around what you said? No, so it's all about Yoni empowerment. So in the tradition of my lineage, the story of Lilith has been really denied. Lilith is reclaiming us in all women. She is the new archetype for this new feminine energy. She represents us, not Eve. Eve was created of Adam's rib. Technically, Eve was the woman that was subservient to the man. It was rewritten. So I have to understand that the Hebrew patriarchs of the day, it was all about politics, control. It was all about power. It was all about domination. It was a male dominator culture. We lived from partnership society. We went into male dominator culture. And in order to usurp the position and make it, what did we get? We got a male god who gave birth to the world. Mother goddess got forgotten. She got demoted into being what we call an incubator for life, as opposed to the one who gave life. And Lilith represents this part of the wholeness. We are reclaiming our sexual innocence, our sexual wholeness. We're reclaiming our yonis as our own. We're reclaiming our empowerment. This is what it means for me, is when I say my yoni's me, my body's me, you can't have it unless I give you permission. Then we call her back. We're reclaiming. Part of my work has always been to reclaim the dismembered parts of our feminine self. And this is our yoni. Our yoni represents feminine power. It's the authentic feminine power. And male dominator culture tried to take it away by saying God was authentic feminine, masculine, God was the authentic, the lingam. Or, and those days actually, you know, it was the phallus. There were phalluses everywhere, monuments to phalluses everywhere. So we're reclaiming that. And that sexual power, our yonis are the representation. Yonis were on all the cave walls. Did you know for 30,000, 40,000 years, there are pictures of fertility and women's empowerment of yonis everywhere. So that's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's longer than a minute, but
you.
thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And ladies too, let's keep the chat active. If there's anything that you want to add or even ask us any questions, please do it there. We would love to include your energy in this transmission. So Dawn, darling.
You've all said so many gorgeous things. So I just want to add another angle for me, that what Yoni empowerment has been for me. This whole experience is reclaiming like my true essence and power, and that it's not leaked from my body in any way. And it's like it's sacred holy temple, right? And I see my vessel and my portal as that. And like, even though I'm married, my husband still has to come and ask, you know, can I enter? Can I, you know, in such a kind and gentle, loving way. It's always with such respect, you know, and this is why I married him, because he has that holy respect for me and my body and our relationship. And so Yoni empowerment for me just means living from that place, and that my portal birthed life. I gave life to a human being, like such a special human being. And the fact that like that creation station inside my body can make miracles happen. So it's still a connection point for me of like manifestation, and the, you know, it's the holy grail of life, like my essence, my vitality, my aliveness, my passion, you know, creativity. Excuse me. So that's kind of what it means for me. It's like tapping into the manifestation of like the orgasm, and using your orgasm to manifest what you're creating in the world. That's Yoni empowerment. Excuse me.
Thank you, darling, for sharing. And it is, everybody comes to it in their own way, in their own time. I personally just really had a hard time with it as well. As Luminessa had shared, I was just like, oh, I don't know. My mom used to call it private parts. We weren't allowed to talk about it when I was younger, and I found pleasuring myself. I actually got in trouble once for doing it. Like, I was found out, and I was like, oh, I'm not allowed to do that. Like, but it felt so good, and okay, I'm being made wrong now. Like, this doesn't feel right. And so I began to question, like, why is it? Why is it? Why is it so triggering? Like, even the word pussy. I'm learning from Mama Gina, like, she created a whole school of womanly arts that focuses on how we turn on our radiance. And she wrote a book called Pussy, a Reclamation. So if you haven't read it, please read it. It's amazing. Like, if you're feeling drawn to this at all, it's highly recommended. But part of that is a trigger. Like, it's a masculine word in the sense of, like, you know, you're weak, you know, like, oh, pussy, right? Or it's just like kind of more derogatory in a sense. And the CUNT word is even worse, right? And how can we begin to be less triggered around that? Like, what is it within us? What is it within me that triggered me about it? And the more that I read her book, the more I understood, like, no, it's time to reclaim the power of the pussy, right? Like, there's so much magic in it. And Sierra and Julie, and we were a part of a pussy flash mob. Like, push up our skirts, and Luminessa can share a short story about a goddess that is exactly what she would do. She would use her yoni to set intentions and make things happen. And so that's the power that we have right now. And so we invite you, sisters, like, please join us. We have a Yoni empowerment ceremony coming up. It's in Sebastopol on Sunday, March 19th. If you don't live locally in Northern California, we have Yoni, we'll travel. We can come to you. If you have a community of sisters that you would like to gather and host this ceremony in your own home, we are happy to do that. Just reach out. The information's in the chat. I'll put it in the comments below. So Luminessa, can you actually share a little bit about it's Demeter, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the goddess Babo is someone I found out. I found out about her arbitrarily, have a book on her. I never heard of her in my life, and I've studied goddesses for many years. So she was a goddess that existed during Persephone and Demeter. So as you know the story, if you might know that in all these different mythologies, so this is the Greek mythology. So Demeter is the goddess of the earth and the mother of hearth and home and mother, winter and spring and summer. And Persephone was her daughter. And she was taken by Hades to the underworld, where she became a woman and learned about her sexuality. But in that taking of her, Persephone, Demeter got sad because she missed her daughter. And in that time, the whole earth had no summer, no spring. Persephone was spring, so she went under. It's that time when we go into winter and we go shut down. So she was crying, she was sad, she was depressed, and it was bleak and cold outside. And suddenly a goddess Babo came to her, and the only one who could make her laugh was Babo. She would look up, she is a Yoni. The picture of Babo, she's actually a Yoni, and she has a dress on, and she goes, wee, wee. And she did that. She flashed herself to Demeter, and Demeter had a smile on her face, and it helped her to help reclaim Persephone and to move forward in her life. So I love that story because it's about the power of Yoni, the power of loving our bodies, and how funny. Can you imagine a goddess that's actually a Yoni? She's a vulva.
Thank you for sharing. Oh, it's so good. Dawn, you have anything you want to add to that before we move on?
I think that's just fantastic what you just said. I'm just in such like joy listening to your story. It's amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so we're talking a little bit about like the pain points, right? Like what is it that we do hold shame or guilt or even self-criticism? So I've actually been hearing about young women getting surgeries on their labias. Like what is that about? Why? We're all beautiful and natural just the way we are. Whether you have hair or not, whether you're on your moon or not, whether you're on menopause or not, like whether you're past that, it's all beautiful. It's all unique. It's all divine. And so I invite us to just send some love and energy to each and every one of us that's on this call. We're here for a reason. We gathered today. You are here because you were called to be here. And women's empowerment starts with ourselves. And what better place to start than from the ground up, from our root, from our connection to Mother Earth, from our sacred portal of creation. And from there, that Kundalini rising up the Sushumna, we can have that channel open to receive messages and codes from Creator Source. So sisters, thank you for being here today. We're so grateful you're here. And so now that we've spoken a little bit about the shame and the guilt, and if you want to share a little bit more, I actually wanted to share one here that I'm here from Whidbey Island, and I am on my moon now, wishing to let go of shame, that I am extremely sensitive and easily triggered. Feeling the cramps and the heat and the emotionality spinning and yucky vibes, I want to let the shame shit go. I want to embrace the courage and confidence and the space to listen deep to my intuition turned on now. I love that. Thank you so much, sister. Oh, sister from Australia, one from Baja, please chime in. I want to hear more from you too. So, Dawn and Luminessa, let's talk a little bit about what the new feminine rising is, right? Like part of the awakening path that we're talking about is Yoni empowerment. And that is embodied within us to create our new feminine rising. It is Woman's Herstory Month. I'm renaming it Woman's Empowerment Month. Whoop, whoop. And so I want to know a little bit more about what you believe the new feminine rising is in creating our new earth frequency together.
So for me, the new feminine rising is a name that I decided to identify with in terms of the women's work that I do, because it's all about this creating a new earth, creating a new paradigm for women's sexuality. So what we're doing is we're not recreating, we're not healing, we're not going to go into the old male dominator culture. We're now ending that. And we're just saying, we're going to create a new way of being for us that is authentically true to the way it was supposed to be before it got corrupted, distorted, transmuted, and changed. We're calling all of that back from the goddess. We're saying, I'm whole, I'm well, I'm safe, I'm this, and I'm going to heal my Yoni. I'm going to heal and connect to her. And the new feminine rising is the new vibrational frequency of the divine feminine and Lilith as a whole being, innocent, pure, powerful, reconnected in such a way that when we walk down the street, we feel safe in our bodies. We no longer have to be afraid that we're going to be attacked or that anybody can do anything. To me, it's about sexual presence. It's a word I love to use. Sexual it's not just sexual allure anymore. It's the presence of who we are, radiantly present, whole, grounded, solid. When we are connected to our sexual power and we're not afraid of it anymore, when we own it, when we use it, we don't have to exploit it. We don't have to hide from it. We don't have to be ashamed of it. We're just it. It's who we are. We're sexual by nature. We're sexual because of our bodies. We have breasts. We have yonis. We give birth. These are all commonalities that make us sexually powerful. And we need to just, for me, it's about just being able to go out in the world and say, here I am. Look at me. I'm divine. I'm beautiful, without it having to be anything other than pure and whole the way it was supposed to be anyway. New feminine rising is the new vibration of the feminine.
Beautiful. I can absolutely 100% resonate in everything you just said. And for me, also, the new feminine rising has to do with the fact that each of us born at this time, we incarnated here for this magical time, carpet ride on this planet Earth, right? And the planet's ascending, we're ascending, and we came built within us the perfect codes for this time. We each carry them. And we're awakeners. If you've been drawn here, you're an awakener. You're here to awaken the planet in however you feel called in your heart. And by reclaiming the parts of ourself through this exquisite experience that Anistara and Luminessa and I are offering, is really reclaiming all the codes you carry inside so that you can go forward with your full activated system and operate from true freedom, true sovereignty, make choices from that place, that full activated I am presence, Christ consciousness that flows through you, right? The God presence that you came here to be, fully activated. And, if you think about it, your portal is the closest, it's the last portion of your body, like down below your root chakra. And think about, like, if your root chakra is blocked any way, you can't have the full expression of your experience in your body, be embodied in your body. And so it's so important to keep all your chakras clean, clear, and flowing. But how important it is to reconnect the root and really, root in to who you are, who you've come here to be, and allow your flower to open, because you're such a gift. You've come here to be the gift. And to do that is by fully loving all parts of you and allowing anything that has been a negative story or a misidentification or an imprint, or someone saying, it's dirty, wrong, bad, any of that can all fall away, because it is not the truth. And you're beautiful. Every part of you is beautiful, whole, holy, sacred, and experiencing yourself and giving that sacred unconditional love to your body temple is the feminine rising, so that you can be whole and operate from that place. Sovereignty, freedom, connection, wholeness, love, unconditional love.
And you're correct.
Sorry, I was muted. Another piece of the new feminine rising for me, too, is being here with you in sisterhood. Like, we are not doing this alone anymore. It's so important to be surrounded by our sisters, to be empowered by our sisters, to learn from one another, to learn from one another's stories. Here's another story in the chat. I went through sexual abuse. I'm not sure if that's what is holding me back or the fact that I thought I was ugly. Right? Like, how many times have you thought your yoni is ugly or that your whole body is because you don't accept that part of yourself? I am now 53 years old, and in 2018, I had bariatric surgery, and now I look at me and I see myself as a beautiful woman. I used to use my sexuality to hold on to a man. I no longer do that. I am starting to love myself and I yearn to step into my power. Yes, sister. Way to go. Thank you. Amazing. And that's how we're going to do it. We do it together. My friend Michaela likes to say, we do it to get here, right? And I love to say, we're birthing our new earth. We're having our new earth sisterhood being formed right here, right now. So thank you, ladies. So I wanted to just quickly go over the process that we're about to go into. So this is just a little mini sacred portal puja. So this is just a taste of what you would get during our live ceremony. And again, that's Sebastopol, Northern California, and it's March 19th. On a Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. The link is in the chat. The thing is we want to travel with this. Like, we really believe that this is going to make an impact around the world. And me personally, too, what I see is I see the young women being held in this temple. Imagine young women who are just coming into their moon cycle, who are just going through that initiation in their life, to be able to honor and hold their sacred portal in reverence, to receive a sacred portal reading, and to understand herself on a deeper connected level. That, imagine that woman not opening herself up to sexual advances or not being pregnant as a teenager. Like, I can see how it can shift our whole world. Imagine a whole new world of empowered, enlightened women who are deeply connected to their yoni. They are not shamed. They don't hold the frequency of guilt or criticism around it at all. So yes to this work, no matter what age we are, but I see it also for those young ones, because that is the new earth, is bringing up these young women into their fully embodied and empowered selves. So those of you who do have your journal and a small mirror, if you choose to have the mirror, it's totally up to you. You can do this without a journal and a mirror. You can use the chat as your journal, however you want to do it. But what I'd like to do is just kind of walk us through a really small portion of what you can receive when you are at a live ceremony. Okay, so Dawn and Luminessa, I'm going to just guide this piece, and if you have anything to include, we can just chime in together in flow and smoothness. Okay. All right, ladies, so let's just take a deep breath together. Take a moment. Take a moment. And just drop into that breath like we did at the beginning of the ceremony. My bowl is not very happy today. It's cold. All right, we're going to drop in. And just feeling that breath again from the root chakra up to the heart with the inhale, and then contracting the chest and exhaling from the heart to the yoni. And so we're bringing that yoni energy up into the heart, pulling our creator source energy into our heart, giving it love, and then sending it back down. And then if you'd like to take your hands and place them in Yoni Mudra and place them down below, wherever you're comfortable, and just tap into the energy of her. With that cyclic breathing, you might find yourself starting to move a little bit, rotating or gyrating your hips, just getting that energy moving in your body. Just feeling that divine feminine rising from your sacred portal up into your heart. And with this swaying, gentle motion, however it's coming through you, begin to tap into listening, a deep, deep listening. And you may ask her any question you ask, whatever you'd like to have guidance on, whatever question you have, you can begin to ask her and just listen to her response. Maybe ask her something else and just listen. Let her respond. Yoni knows. Let's ask her one final question. Into that deep listening. And if you have your journal, you can pull that out and just take a few moments to free write what it is that you asked and what her response was. Or maybe even ask yourself some new questions that you can connect with her later and receive her response after the call is over. And now we're going to give ourselves some love. So if you do have a mirror and you turn your camera off and you did want to do some mirror gazing, you're going to take your mirror and you place it on the floor, or you can hold it in place in front of you. And just take a moment and say, "Hello, beautiful." Observe her beauty, her lusciousness, her softness. Her curves. Her lips, her juiciness. And now, let's take a moment to honor her and give her our love. Give yourself love. Give her some compliments. You can comment on her color. Just compliment her. Just love yourself up and give her some juiciness, some gratitude, some thankfulness, and really feel it in your heart when you share that with her. And then you can begin to perhaps see if there's anything visual she wants to share with you. Maybe there's a symbol that comes up. Maybe there's an animal that appears, or a symbol, or a hieroglyph, or a rune, or any kind of glyph. Just observe for a moment. Now let's go back to asking her a question. Just allow her to give you the answer. Dawn and Luminessa, if you want to add anything here before we close out. Still sitting with the image of her if you have the mirror. If you don't, your hands are just down with her.
I just invite you to breathe in pure love. Just allow yourself to see her, touch her, speak to her from a place of love, full acceptance. I accept you. I forgive any part of myself that never has accepted any part of myself. I release that. I release any time I didn't fully accept you. I release any misidentification that wasn't in love towards myself. I fully accept myself. I fully accept the beauty, the sacredness, the holiness that is my vessel, my portal, my Yoni. I love you. What words come forward for you? What words of affirmation does she want you to say to her? Is there a sacred vow of a new way of being from this moment forward that wants to come forward? A new commitment, a new higher intention, an ascending intention with your beloved vessel, holy temple.
Let's all breathe for that in this moment. And just come to closure. Let her know how much you love her. Thank her for this moment. Thank her for this moment of deep connection. Go ahead and have any final words you want to have with her. Maybe a promise that you'll come back to her soon. Yeah. Oh, Divine Goddess, Mother Mary, Isis, Hathor, Sekhmet, the four goddesses, you are here with us now as we transmute any shame, blame, criticism of our sacred portal. May we embrace and embody our true divine feminine, our truest essence, our higher selves. Maybe we become embodied and empowered women on purpose, here to birth our new earth together. And so it is, sisters. Thank you. Thank you. And come into a close here. You can put your mirror away. You can grab your journal and take some time with this for a moment if you'd like. Uh, Please, if you are willing and wanting to share some of your experience in the chat, we would love to hear. What did she say to you? What was like a golden nugget, a golden thread, an aha moment for you that you just received from your divine portal? I'm going to take some time throughout the rest of the call to share that. It doesn't have to be immediate. I don't want you going straight back to your keyboard if you're not ready yet. Yoni needs spaciousness. Yoni needs time. Thank you so much. This was the first time I've connected with her. Oh, sister, yes. Wow. Thank you for being here today and doing this with us. You're so bold and courageous. Yes. May this be the beginning of a new relationship with her. Yeah. You know, Yoni speaks. Luminessa has a blog called Yoni Speaks because she does. She is our owner knowing, our inner knowing. She is our intuition. Like, you have a question, I don't care if you're driving down the street and be like, oh, wait, I might want to go to that restaurant because I'm hungry. Put your hand on her and be like, what should I do? She'll be like, go to your desire. Go to where you're going to find pleasure. And I'm not just talking about sexual, I'm talking about what lights us up. Whether it's a bubble bath, whether it's being in nature, whether it's eating chocolate, whether it's being with our sisters. What lights us up? What turns our radiance on? She knows. She knows first. So, thank you, ladies. Wow, celebrating this. She is a beaming light. Yes, indeed, she is. Yes, sisters, holding you all right now in this highest intention that the messages and the codes that you just received, you carry out into your life. That you allow them to not only impact your individual healing, but the collective. Because that's what this missionary work is doing. We are healing timelines here. We're healing our ancestral wounds from the past and all the way into the future. So, you have the power to do that. We have the power to do that. And so we're being called now to do that. It is time for us to do that. Yeah. So, all right, let's get some sparkle fingers for that. Amazing. Very powerful practice. Yes, it is. This is just the beginning. So, Luminessa and Dawn and I want to share a bit about what is included in a Yoni empowerment ceremony. Again, we can come to you if you're not in NorCal. But our upcoming one, and we'll have many, but the inauguratory initial launch of the Yoni Empowerment Ceremony is Sunday, March 19th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. in Sebastopol, California. And then, you know, we plan to do many of these, and then we plan to do multi-day retreat as well at some point, either in the fall or spring next year. So lots is coming, lots of birthing happening right now with this collaboration, with this particular constellation of sisters. My Yoni is my crystal light pure pleasure voice. Yes, craving my craving my massage coconut oil, and she now shines and is so loved. That's right. Thank you. Oh my gosh. And it's amazing the different colors that come out when you have oil or not, the different faces of Yoni. We're going to talk about that when we talk about a portal, sacred portal reading. Dawn can share what a reading is like. So, Luminessa, you want to share a little bit about what the Yoni empowerment ceremony is?
So this is a ceremony that initially something that I came up with through my own sexual healing process, and also shared it with other women. It's a day of sacred ceremony and sacred communion with our portal of love. It is our heart and our Yoni connection. It is reclaiming, once again, a connection that has been forgotten by women everywhere throughout time. It is a time for the new timeline, the new way of being, that women start to love themselves again in a way that's holistic. And as you said so beautifully, Dawn, with sovereign and freedom. So the empowerment ceremony begins with connection with women in sacred circle. It begins with intimacy. Women have a capability. Once we sit in circle, if you've never sat in sacred circle with women, you will be for a great surprise of joy and intimacy that happens very quickly with women. Women have a way to let go. When they're in sacred circle, we just let it all hang out. So we're in creating the vibrational frequency within a beautiful temple to have the opportunity to first go into connection, to develop some intimacy with each other, because we're going to be going even deeper intimacy throughout that day. So we want to know that we trust each other. And one of the wounds that we heal when we do this is that false belief that sisters compete with each other, that we have to be jealous, we have to compare ourselves. Believe me, even to this day, it's still taught in every place you go about how you have to look and how pretty or whatever. I mean, believe me, it plagues all women everywhere. The false belief that I have to compare myself to you, that I have to look at your Yoni and say your Yoni is prettier than my Yoni, or my breasts are prettier than your breasts. Yeah. This is all we're healing all of this when we come together as sisters. We now say, we are together. We hold hands. Sisterhood and circles have been here for thousands of years. This is not a new teaching. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We are just inviting it again to come alive in our lives. So in this ceremony, we start with sacredness, we start with connection and intimacy, we move into practices to keep us connected, heart-eye connection, where we get to really maybe share deeply a wound and heal that wound, just by owning it. The first step in healing is to say it exists. When you say, oh, it's there, then we heal. We will also move into learning about the most amazing genital typing. This is so much a part of the Tantra community. Tantra, the word Tantra means to weave, to connect, to join. And so in sexual Tantra, in the red Tantra that's taught, we learn all about these different genital types. And the one that I love the most that works so good is a Cherokee Indian, a sweet medicine Kodoshka Tantra. And we learn about the 9 types of Yoni. We get to have a show and tell. And that means that one of us, or more than one of us, may get up and we spread our legs and we let someone look at our beautiful Yonis and we say, what type is she? And we go, oh, I'm a wolf woman. What's a wolf woman like? You go, oh, wolf woman is like this, 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 and this. And you know what happens? What happens is so magical, because the minute you know that you're okay, that your Yoni is looking the way it looks because that's the way it's supposed to look. It's supposed to have big, beautiful lips. It's supposed to have skinny little lips. It's supposed to have mounds of lushness. It's not that my Yoni needs to look like your Yoni to be okay. We're not porn stars. We're not trying to be a porn star here and look all manicured. Porn stars manicure themselves. That's why they look that way. They don't look that way naturally. So we're here to make it okay in our ceremony to look at the type that we are. When you know what type you are, it changes everything. It changes everything. So that's another aspect of this ceremony. And then we will move into how to make an altar piece. which is a wonderful ceremony in itself because we commune in silence with her as we connect and we share it with another sister. Imagine you're getting plastered and you're doing this with a sister who's looking at your yoni, and it's so amazing. It's so beautiful.
And then we're gonna bedazzle them too and dress
We're
them
going
up.
to
I
be
always dress out
dazzled.
of
We're going
painting.
to commune and join in community as we decorate our beautiful yoni altar pieces. And then we move on into the deeper place of the yoni pussy readings
Yeah.
and go into that whole section. So it's a segment. And there's breaks and time, of course, for
Right.
lunch and
Some
connecting.
dance
But
breaks too.
we might even dance some,
Yeah.
dance a little
Might
bit.
even. We're going to, for sure. We'll have some embodiment practice.
So this ceremony really is an empowerment. It's like, the word empowerment means we activate, we empower. And, we do it for ourselves and each of us, this is the beauty. Women do it with each other. Women for centuries, for thousands of years, I know it in my bones, have always healed each other. We have always done this together in circle, in communion. We have always been together healing our own selves. Women do this with women. Women have always healed each other's yonis. They always have.
That's what we're here
So
doing.
that's my rendition, and there's more, but I'll pass it on to Anistara.
Yeah, and Dawn, part of the day is that we will have one particular woman where we will show how to create the sacred photo taking ritual and teach everyone in the ceremony how to take a well lit front facing photo of their yoni, because when we look in the mirror it's just a reflection, but when we take a photo of it we can see it head on, we can see it the way everyone else sees it, and so it takes on a different shape or a different animal totem or a different hieroglyph, and all kinds of new things come out. So, Dawn, can you share with us a little bit more about what a sacred portal reading is about?
Oh, absolutely. It's a joy. I was really nervous when I did it. I honestly say, because I had so much shame. Even I never really spoke about my personal, like I shared about me being an exotic dancer and never sharing her in that way. But that little piece of fabric was my sense of like security, like that's for me. And it was really, really freeing to be able to present the different, the closed version, sort of bloom, and then full bloom photo. And in that place, I was so nervous to do it, but they guide you through before the photos are even revealed, everyone does a meditation holding the woman that's the pussy of honor. And she gets to, the woman that's like, revealing her beautiful yoni is honored. And it was such an honor. And it in that sacredness of sharing that with the other women, which I felt like it was going to be really vulnerable and I didn't know what I was going to feel. But honestly, it gave me such a sense of liberation in a place where, as a young child, I remember for me, this is the part of the shame that I was able to let go fully, was I even in the bathtub when I was a young child, like I remember all the other girls in the bathtub didn't have a yoni that looked like mine, and all of them were looking at mine like, what's wrong with yours? Yours doesn't look like ours. And I remember getting out of that bathtub feeling so shameful, like what's wrong with me? And that stayed with me. And even in my sexual relationships up till before I met my husband, right? And even as a dancer, I always felt like I needed to hide her. She was, not acceptable in a way. And I don't feel that way anymore. And the reading kind of gave me a deeper sense of liberation, and being with my beloved too. I don't have that sense of shame around her. And there was a lot of just a feeling of liberation and a sense of awe to hear everyone say like, oh, I see this and I see that, and all the different codes. And then I was able to take those codes and it's all written for me. And I was able to like make a piece of art out of it, and a reminder of like, these are the specific totems I carry. And it made so much sense. I remember just crying, feeling such nothing but gratitude for something that I felt in my heart I knew, but to have that deep affirmation and to be able to reveal my most holy sacred place in such a vulnerable way, and then to allow it to feel like there doesn't have to be any shame here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Anymore. It's gone. It's free. I release it. And that is what this experience, like letting go of the comparison narrative, completely. Because stripping for me had a lot of comparison narrative. My boobs are smaller than everyone else's. I have to work harder, like all of that, story that I carried in it. And yeah, just letting go. We're not here to compare ourselves to each other. We're here to be a oneness, sharing the oneness, and lift each other up of like, look how beautiful you are, and look at how beautiful you are, and look at your gifts you carry, and we all are holy and sacred and have beautiful gifts. And that's this reclamation that goes on in this experience. That was mine.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much, sister,
And
for
I
sharing
just
that.
wanted to add as an afterthought, or that as we do, remember that as we do this for ourselves, each one of us does this for every woman on the planet.
Yes.
This goes out into the unified field, and it is triggered to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands as we do it together. Remember, always together is more powerful than when we do it alone. So just keep that in mind too, that not only are we healing ourselves in this process, but we're helping the whole humanity, all of women and men. We're changing the field. We change the field, and we change how it is. And when women change how they see themselves, this is the quantum jump that we've been waiting for. We're waiting for all women to say, no more, I'm empowered. I love my body. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. And you know what happens? It ripples out. And then it fixes not just women, but men too. Men get it, because you see, if we're not holding it, how is a man going to know that?
Yeah.
He's going to reflect it if we know it. If we say no, then he said, oh, thank you, goddess. We have to reclaim the living goddess that each of us really are. And I say that with sincerity, not like the goddess of some cartoon picture, but the goddess that each of us are. We're the queen, we're the goddess. We are the goddess within. And one of the things that we will do, and also, is like learning how to have a living goddess guide that you can also find out about by just going to my website. And it's a free gift, and it helps you to understand the different archetypes of the goddesses of love, which we work with, and we learn how to embody them. When we own all these parts of ourselves, I want to tell you what happens is you are filled with sexual presence. You know how to handle your sexuality. You really, it changes your whole reality of how you perceive yourself as a woman and how you work in the world. You won't sell yourself anymore. You won't sell your sex, because you give it through your presence. That's
beautiful.
Yeah.
Your presence is your gift. Yep. And comparison is the thief of joy. It really is. And so this is a solid sister. Like the moment I was in my first, it was called Pussy Church at that point. It was a live event in Berkeley 6.5 years ago. The moment I walked in, first of all, I felt a resonance in the room. It was a really beautiful high frequency. It was all decorated beautifully, which is our intention, to create this sacred temple space for all of us to be in. And I just felt at home. I felt comfortable. And so I was able to speak of my shame and my criticism and my guilt and being cut in half by my cesarean and all of that, because I knew that it was a safe place for me to share that. And then when we started going through the process of the mirror gazing and then the photo taking and then actually having a sacred portal oracle reading by the women, was just one of the most powerful, pivotal, transformational moments of my life. We were invited to actually name our yonis after looking at the picture. And so the coloration and the striation of mine, the word Pele started coming up, the goddess, the Hawaiian goddess of volcanoes and lava. And we were asked to name it with a goddess name, an action, and then a flower. And so if you feel called to do that, go ahead, write it in your journal. You want to choose a goddess name like Pele, and then an action, which mine was Stargazer, and then a flower, which mine was Lily. Because Stargazer Lily is a flower as well. And Stargazer is an action. I love looking at the stars. I feel like I come from the stars, right? My Pleiadian and Illyrian lineage. And so the actual sacred portal oracle reading that happens during the ceremony. I also am offering these one-on-one now. They can be done on Zoom, and I can hold your hand, guide you through the whole process. It's so hard to put into words the healing that comes from this. And if there's nothing that you need healed, it's just liberating. It's just empowering to go through this process. And so you're invited to take a picture at rest, fully closed. And then you kind of play with your lips a little bit and open them up a little bit more. And then you take a photo of slightly open. And then you play with them a little bit more and you make yourself more open to full blossom or full bloom. And we look at these three faces of Yoni because each one has its own codes and shapes that come through. And a lot of women, when they're in full bloom, I'm seeing a lot of archetypes coming up through this missionary work, such as cobra or elephant ears, like the cobra, mouth open, elephant ears. Mary Magdalene, the Mother Mary, always in the cloak, right? So many women hold that code. And I'm seeing a common thread, and yet each and every Yoni that I've witnessed and been a part of this process with is completely and utterly different and unique. We could talk about the genital typing, and that'll categorize us, and then we can talk about the archetypes and some of the symbols, and that can help categorize us even further because each one has its own explanation. Like a lot of mine was the phoenix or the flaming heart, elephant ears, and things like this, peacock. And so I would go and I would write the symbols and I would go and research them. What does peacock mean? What does the phoenix bird mean? What does cobra mean? And I started to decipher these codes, and it gave me great insights into my life. It gave me insights into my path. It gave me answers for questions that I had at the time. It's really a powerful process. And so you can get a hold of me directly. I shared my phone number. You can text me. You can also reach me via WhatsApp on that number. In fact, I'll add it again, 1-818. And I would love to be present and assist with any of you who are interested in a one-on-one. So the ceremony in Sebastopol, I know several of you live in the area. We just want to share with you a little bit more about that. And so I'm going to just share screen really quick so I can show you there's Luminessa's beautiful website. You can find that, and we'll put that link in the chat as well. And here's Dawn's beautiful Spark Your Inner Gold website. Thank you, ladies, for being here. So this is the Yoni Empowerment Ceremony website, and you can just join our email list here by joining our new birth Sisterhood. And if you are a full body yes and it's time to go, just hit yes to Yoni, and that will open up our registration form. You can also just text me or email me directly. But this page tells you a bit more about the ceremony and the fact that it's my deepest desire to share another way with you, a path towards you living your most divinely guided life. I am in service to women like you who are ready to launch into extraordinary life of radiance, happiness, and fulfillment. And we go into some of the pain points we will heal and the intention of the ceremony, as well as what you're going to be taking home with you, including that Yoni cast. So you can jump onto the website and fill that out, or feel free to just email me at anistara1111@gmail.com, or you can text me as well. And Luminessa and Dawn, is there anything else you wanted to add to come into close here before we close this container? Ladies who are here live on the call, once we end the recording, we will open it to Q&A if you have direct questions for us. So closing thoughts, Dawn and Luminessa.
We just wanted to make sure that you also know that if you sign up right now, you will also get a
Ah,
special gift from
uh-huh.
us to you.
Excellent.
For rather our we have a sliding scale, which we always will offer to people from 122 to 144 for the day, which is amazing. And if you sign up right now and you pay for it in full, you get it for $111, which is a deal from the goddess of
Mhm.
love, which is all of us to all of you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for presencing that. I did forget to mention what it is we would like in reciprocity. This is an 8-hour ceremony, ladies. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of setup, a lot of breakdown, and we believe that what we're asking for is
It's a
it's
deal.
reasonable. It's amazing,
It's a
and yeah,
deal.
it's a
It's
deal.
a deal.
So,
And we just want to say, I sent in my chat, I gave you my website, and I also said to go get my Living Goddess Guide to it's actually to reinventing your erotic sense of self. That's what we're really doing
mhm,
here.
mhm.
We're reinventing ourselves. We're saying, what is our erotic sense of self? What is that? What does it feel like? How do we want to be in the world? So
Yeah.
please check it out if you wish to. You can also always feel free to text me, and or my information, I think, is all on the handouts or the things that
All
Anistar
in
shared.
there. Yep. Yeah, it's all in there. And at the end, you can save the chat as well, ladies. It's super easy. You just click the 3 dots at the bottom, click save chat, and then that way you can get all the links, you can even read some of the comments that the ladies are bringing in, because whatever somebody's going through in this container, we can hold them in that container as well. So, Dawn.
I just have gratitude for each woman here, and the bravery that it takes to step forward in this new paradigm that we get to reinvent ourselves every day. And why not reinvent, your whole relationship to your sacred portal and yourself? And that really, again, what is the ascending intention that you're stepping forward into in your new version of you? And I just celebrate your holiness. I celebrate your light. I celebrate the gifts that you carry. And yeah, may your healing can just exponentially unfold and miracles occur for you in your life. And it's just my prayer for the highest elevation to just sweep through your consciousness, bless you in every way, bless your life. May miracles flow into your life. May the places that have felt stuck be unstuck. May the rivers of joy and bliss and gratitude just sweep through your life and carrying away the old remnants of self. May they just be able to be mulched in the garden of your life and spring forward the new shoots, the new blossoms, the new blessings, the new aspect of you that's asked to call forward. And may God just bless you and bless your life in every way. And you are the holy expression of creator. Come here to be yourself fully. And I just invite you to really take a deep breath into the heart and sovereignty that you carry. You carry the codes of sovereignty and freedom. You are queen. And remember and be awake to your remembrance.
Mm-hmm. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you.
We're all
Thank you.
remembering. We're remembering that we used to do this. We
Yes,
used to sit in ancient temples together doing this work.
Yes.
And so I call you, sister, back to the circle, back to the temple
come
today.
home.
Let us come in ceremony again as we come to close. Thank you for being here. Blessed be, sisters. Thank you, Isis, Hathor, Sekhmet. North, south, east, west, earth, air, water, fire. Blessed, divine, new earth frequency, Mama Jamas. Yes, sisters of the new earth. We are here doing it together, and I'm just so grateful for you.
Bless you.
Happy 3-3 Portal Day. Blessed be. May you create a beautiful life and know that you are a woman in power. Yay.